What's going on, guys? Eric here with Proactive Intuition, and welcome to part 2 of how to make huge profits buying and reselling MacBooks. In this video, I'm going to be covering how do I go about finding the MacBooks that I buy to resell, and how do I go about making offers for MacBooks. How do I know how much I want to spend for them so I still make a good, healthy profit? So stay tuned, I'll be covering all that in this video. Alright guys, so this video is really the meat and potatoes of really the foundation of how I go about buying the MacBooks and figuring out how much I need to offer for it, because there are some things that you need to be aware of. Now, whenever I go to buy them, my method of sourcing MacBooks is the same way that I source phones. If you guys have watched any of my other videos, if you guys have not seen the video about how I go about placing ads on really popular places like Facebook and Letgo and Craigslist, click on the link below. I'll have a video of how I place my ads. That video is going to show you how to do it with phones, but you just switch it up a little bit for MacBooks. But real quick, to summarize it, all I do is I take a MacBook. If you guys don't have a MacBook, you can do anything else. You don't even have to post a picture. You can keep it really simple. But once you buy your first MacBook, you can have a MacBook like this, throw some cash in front of it, and put a little card or whatever on there that says I pay cash for MacBooks, and you can post that on every platform. You can post that on Craigslist, on Facebook, on Letgo, on OfferUp. Like I said, if you want to check out how I make my ads, click on the link below. That'll show you how to do it. But that's how I go about sourcing it. Some other ways you can source MacBooks is just by searching those platforms as well. So, everyone has an old MacBook laying around. So if you search Letgo, OfferUp, Craigslist, Facebook, you're going to find a lot of people selling MacBooks. Now, that's not my preferred way of sourcing them, because the people that actually take the time to post the items for sale generally have some idea of what they're worth, because they actually took the time to post it, take pictures, and put it online for sale. So that's why I like making the post saying I buy MacBooks, because then you get people contacting you that are just scrolling through those platforms of what they have for sale, and they contact with you what they have for sale, and then all you have to do is make an appraisal. So I'm going to be showing you guys now how to do an appraisal on a MacBook. So I'm going to be switching to my computer here and showing you guys real quick my super simple, easy way that I appraise MacBooks and how much profit I'm looking for when I do appraise them. So I'll switch over to my computer here real quick, and we'll flip the video over to this. Alright guys, so I'm going to be showing you how to appraise the MacBooks that you buy. So how much do you need to offer for the MacBooks based off the information that you get from the customer. So once you place those ads, you're going to have a lot of people messaging you with what they have for sale. And there's a couple of key things you need to figure out before you can give them an accurate offer so that you can still make a good profit on it. So the very first thing that you need to figure out is, hey, is there any issues with the MacBook at all? And most people will be pretty transparent and honest with you. Some people will tell you something like, yeah, it works great, it just needs a charger. You never want to take their word for it that it works great and it just needs the charger. So it is good to actually go out and get some cheap aftermarket chargers. So if you do meet up with them, you can plug in the MacBook and verify that it works. So anyway, what I wanted to show you guys here real quick, and I'll flip over to my screen here in a second, is one of the biggest things that you're going to need to get from people is the serial number on the back of the MacBook. So the serial number for any model that's, I believe, 2009 and newer, it should just be located right here on the back. So it should just say the serial number. So instead of asking them, hey, can you send me like how much RAM it has and the hard drive size and all that stuff, you don't have to bother with any of that. You just need to get this little serial number on the back here, and it will tell you all of that information for you. So I'm going to flip it over to my computer here real quick and show you guys exactly how I appraise these items. So I'm going to go to this website here. It's called everymac.com, and they have this serial checker here where you can just type in the serial number of the MacBook, and it's going to show you all of the specs, all of the exact details of the MacBook. Now, sometimes it can't collect all of the information. It's going to give you options of what type of processor does it have. So then you have to kind of dig a little deeper and figure out, the exact specs from the customer. But most of the time, even when it does that, I just assume it's the worst model. And then if they turn away my offer, I can then ask them like, hey, it wouldn't happen to be the i7 processor, would it? And then you can, pay up a little bit more to kind of close the deal. But anyways, this is how you go about figuring out the specs. And then the only thing that we do from here is we flip over to eBay and we type in these specs to figure out how much this MacBook sells for. So this is the exact MacBook that I bought. This is a 2012. So this is an item that I appraised. He actually said that there is described an issue that was with the MacBook, and I knew exactly what it was, and I knew that this thing more than likely worked, but I still appraised it as if it didn't. So this thing I paid $100 for, and basically all you're going to do is you're going to type in over here on eBay the exact information. So you're going to type in MacBook Pro 13-inch i5 2012, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 500 gigabyte storage size. That will get you the exact model. Another thing you can do too as well is under here where it says order, you can actually just copy and paste this and it's going to show the exact model. The only thing I can say with that, just be a little bit careful with that because sometimes eBay will show you not the exact model because someone screwed up on their listing whenever they did it. So just be aware of that and make sure you double check when you're doing your appraisal. So we'll flip over to eBay here and we'll show up all of the items. I already typed it in. MacBook Pro 2012 13-inch i5 4 gigabytes of RAM, 500 gigabytes of storage. You don't have to type out RAM and all that stuff. If you type this in, it's going to get you all the results that you need. So now all you're doing, you're just finding the exact comps of this item. This one is in great condition. So, we can appraise it assuming that we're going to get on average what these prices are showing. So here's one. This is actually a smaller hard drive. So this one went for $240. This is our exact one right here. So this one went for $245. It is a refurbished model, however, too. So you do have to keep in mind all the different conditions you can run across. Here's one. This one has 16 gigs of RAM, so we can't use this example. But this one sold for $350. Let's keep going here. That's a 240 gigabyte. This is an 8 gig. So this one's closer to what we have, a little bit more RAM, but went for $260. Let's see here. This looks like our exact model. And this one went for $280, so that's a good sign. So this is an exact model, 500 gigabytes RAM, 4 gigabyte, 2.5, i5 processor, MacBook Pro 2012, 13-inch. That's our exact model, so that's a great sign on that. Here's another one. I don't know what the storage size is on this, but that one went for $250. So at a low end, I'd say $250 is probably what I anticipate getting on this. Some of these ones went pretty cheap, but there's probably something wrong with them, I would imagine. But I would anticipate getting at least $250 for this, and that's a pretty safe appraisal on it. So, even if I only got $200 for it, I only spent $100 for it. So, $100 into $250 is a really good profit, but that's how I go about looking it up. But the biggest thing that you guys have to be aware of is just look up the exact model. And I do the same thing. If I get someone that has something that's for parts only, like a no power MacBook, I can type in the serial number, figure out all the specs. I can type in everything I need to know. So I'll type in, MacBook Pro 2012, 13-inch, no power. Now, you are going to have a lot of different specs on MacBooks. So if you type in no power on something that is too specific, eBay isn't going to have it show up. But you can type in no power and just get a general feel of what a no power 2012 MacBook goes for. So here's one went for 105, 119, 110, 130. So I'll make an offer for these for $20 all day long, and I grab them all the time. I mean, if you guys watched my last video, all of those ones are worth like 80 to $100, and I paid $20 for each one of them. So that's a really simple, easy way. That's how I appraise my MacBooks. And so I'll flip it back over to the main camera now, and I'll give you guys a little bit more details on appraising. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that training on how to appraise MacBooks. A couple of additional things I want to say is be very careful about the MacBooks that you do decide to buy. A lot of people will contact you with MacBooks saying they just found it, or they'll contact you saying it's password locked. And to tell you the truth, I do buy some of those, but I have very strict rules when it does come to selling those. It's a lot more advanced. For if you're new to flipping MacBooks, I would just stay away from those. I would just turn them all away. You know, if it's firmware, password locked, or iCloud locked, you probably want to stay away if you're newer to MacBooks. If the guy said he just found it on the street, that raises a lot of red flags. You know, you don't want to encourage buying stolen goods. So one of the ways I actually use to protect myself is I'm very strict about my bill of sale rule. And that's just a bill of sale that shows, you know, the item I'm buying, the price I'm paying, and it has this long statement, very, very detailed, of, you know, them stating that they did not steal this item, and it has a bunch of other stuff on there too as well to protect you in case you ever do buy a stolen item. But that bill of sale tends to turn away anyone that's trying to sell you something stolen, and if you ever do accidentally buy something stolen, you're covered because you have that bill of sale. So hopefully that helped you guys out. In part 3, I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of the avenues you can use to sell your MacBook, so be sure to stay tuned for that video. If you guys like this type of information, be sure to join our free Facebook group. It's linked in the description of this video, but that Facebook group is a community of other phone and electronics resellers. So if you need a little bit of help with anything, you can ask questions in there. I post additional content in there, additional videos. I give you guys my direct buyer who will buy items straight up so you can avoid selling stuff on eBay. There's all kinds of good stuff in there, so just join that if you haven't already. It's completely free. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you in part 3 of the video series on how to buy and resell MacBooks for huge profits. I'll see you guys later.